All right, joining us now to talk about more things political here in Orange County. We got tons to talk about with Peggy Lowe. She's the Orange County Register political reporter. I'm glad to have you back as always, Peggy.
Hi guys, busy.
Oh my goodness. Put down your pen for a minute. My gosh,
I'm sorry.
So much to talk about. Let's start with Chris Street and the job review. What does this have? Does this hold anything, as far as his reputation is concerned here in the county?
Sure, this was good news for Chris Street. This was what Supervisor Bill Campbell asked for last month when these controversial securities came up. He buys these things called SIVs. I always want to call them SUVs, but he's not buying cars.
That's later.
That's later.
Yeah.
Anyway, he bought some of those, and they were rated badly. They were put on a bad credit rating list, and so he came under fire for that. So Bill Campbell said, "Look, we want an independent guy to look at the portfolio to see if it's okay." This was the independent look at it, and they said yes, this was okay. But now Morlock said, "I expected that to be fine."
Yeah, right.
He said, "I knew that everything was going well. There's a good staff in place at the Treasurer's office, and of course they're managing the portfolio just fine." Morlock's problem has always been he believes Chris Street is distracted from all these controversies we've been talking about for months, and that he should step down.
Why does he continue to say that? Because it seems that Chris Street is proving that he's doing a job, and for that matter, Supervisor Morlock also has got a number of things going on.
That's true, but I mean, always remember, never forget. There are several investigations going on into Chris Street's work, and it's just quiet right now, but those could absolutely come back. There's a federal investigation into what he did with Fruhoff, and there's a local investigation that Tony Rackauckus is heading up about several of the things that Chris has done while in office. So we haven't heard about the outcome of those things yet, but they are certainly pending, and that's why John Morlock has a problem with Chris.
And let's talk a little bit more about the sheriff's pension. We had an update story on that from David Nazar. Are you hearing anything on the blogs, anything that you can add to the story?
This is an enormous story, and it's going to be around for a while because this is going to be a test case statewide. They're really hoping that they could change the pensions. People like the Lincoln Club, John Morlock, those guys, think that they could maybe change the pensions here in Orange County. They believe they're overly generous, so they're trying to cut the deputies. Now, of course, the unions are out in full force saying this is absolutely not fair. We made life decisions based on what we knew we would get or not get, and you can't take away something that you approved several years ago. So it's a really classic fight with labor and with people who believe that those pensions are just overly generous.
And now the county will file a lawsuit.
The county's going to file a lawsuit, and it will go to court, and we'll see what will happen. Of course, the union's attorneys said you're absolutely going to lose. You've had several opinions that said it's problematic and you're not going to win. Of course, the board says, yes, we do have those, but we have other opinions that say we could be successful. And they say we have this duty to uphold the Constitution, and we believe these pension benefits are unconstitutional.
We heard what Quint had to say just a few minutes ago in the story, but was there anything that he added in the Board of Supervisors meeting?
Not so much, because yesterday it was pretty scripted by the union as far as their public relations. They had a little rally outside with the mostly some retired deputies that you saw, that you guys were at. And then they came in, and his attorney spoke to the board too. His attorney was very effective, a guy with Morrison and Forster. And basically they say this is political grandstanding by John Morlock, who is an ambitious politician and wants to ride on this wave, this anti-union sentiment about pensions. And that's mostly what Wayne Quint said.
Okay, this is a bit of a slippery slope, because if this actually does win, can any county contract then be renegotiated? It doesn't just apply to the deputies union.
That's absolutely right. And slippery slope was a term that was used a lot yesterday. And they just said, if every single thing you've ever voted on and approved is up for grabs and up for amending, is anything set?
Right.
You know, this was a promise that you made, and you must go through with it. It's a contract you must fulfill.
What about plans for deputies' pensions from here on? I mean, like a new hire, so to speak.
Oh, well, new hires now get the 3 at 50.
So it's a whole different ballgame.
Not yet. It hasn't changed yet. No, but it could potentially change it if this court case is successful.
All right. Okay, we'll keep everybody posted on that one. Let's talk a little bit about the Sheriff's Department in the search for a new top cop, nationwide search. I mean, we reported earlier, it could take up to several months. That doesn't sound like a bad idea. You want to make sure you look through everything.
Sure. You know, it never ceases to amaze me. Whenever I do a sheriff story, I get a lot of reaction. The blogs are going nuts. I got a lot of calls today. Some people were kind of cranky that the Board of Supes approved this national search. It's going to cost $75,000, and people are saying, hey, there's all these really good local candidates. Why can't you just pick from them? The board, however, they said they want to validate the process as okay. They want it to be transparent. public. So they're going to go ahead with this national search.
From what you see, is that going to be the best choice? Because again, I'm one of those that I agree. I think it's spending money to come in and maybe get one of the candidates. After all, it's right in our backyard. Is it something you feel is worth doing as a political reporter?
I don't know how I feel about it, and I don't know that I would share it actually publicly. I'll talk to you later, though, and that'll be fine. But but there were 3 options that they had, and Pat Bates and Bill Campbell and Janet believed that they should do this national thing. Chris Norby and John Morlock said, no, we shouldn't. Let's not spend that extra money. We have all these good local guys. So, I mean, I think it's a way to vet it in the future. Meaning they can say, look, we had this national search. It was very public. We did it right.
Yeah.
I think it's a way to sort of protect themselves in the future.
In the future. Any word from the Corona camp at all? Been kind of quiet now since he retired/resigned.
His attorneys are still working on his case. From what I understand, he's working pretty much full-time on his case. And they are gearing up. Yeah, we do talk to his attorneys every once in a while.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Put a call in. Scheduled to go to court when?
June.
Okay.
June. So it's going to be an interesting 2008.
Yes, it will, all the way around. Thanks, Peggy.
Thanks, Peggy.